Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a really cool video to share with you guys. So I do have a new knife to unbox, and it's right off camera, and we're going to get to that here in just a second. But I wanted to talk about these first. If you don't know, every year my wife does something really cool for me on our anniversary. She buys me a knife, and she doesn't want any help. She wants to pick it out herself, and she basically just goes off of what I've been talking about. Because I'll start to talk, whether she's interested or not, I start to talk, even off camera about pocket knives and about new interesting things and stuff like that. So while it might seem kind of crazy that she's able to land on really awesome stuff every year, you have to imagine, being a full-time YouTuber with almost 4,000 uploads. I live, sleep, eat, breathe pocket knives, so there's a lot of information pouring out of my face at any given part of the day. So she has quite a bit of breadcrumbs to follow. And every year she manages to get something cool. So I thought I would go over all of the previous gifts and then unbox the new one and share it with you guys. It's pretty exciting. Thank you so much to my patrons for supporting me. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. And thanks so much to my wonderful wife for just being really cool. This is really fun for me, and it's a fun thing. I mean, I do acquire a lot of knives year round, but this to me is much more special. Every year it is so interesting to see what my wife is picking out based on, what's available at the time and just the stuff that I've said, right? So originally, the original gift was the Lion Steel TRE Titanium. This is from a long time ago. And I always point out that this one's been carried so much that the ano actually has started to wear off of the pocket clip. Now, this one doesn't get carried as much. It will get carried periodically, like if we go to on a dinner date or something like that. But yeah, I have a huge soft spot in my heart for this one because this was the first, and it was just really, really cool to. I think you can actually still get this knife. In fact, whatever's available, I'll actually link it in the description. But the original idea behind the TRE was the 3 rapid exchange. So you had 3 different setups you could do. It actually has a detachable flipper tab, which I have removed. I have the box, I have it in the box still, but I've removed the flipper tab and just used the thumb thing, right? So there's no flipper tab in the way up here, which allows you to choke up a little bit better. We still have the thumb thing on there, or you can remove all of them if you're in an area or part of the world where a single hand deployment is not legal. Which made this kind of an interesting concept. I mean, this was years ago, right? This is also one of my favorites, and it definitely gets carried a lot more for dinner dates and stuff. This is the Titanium Delica with the Sanmai Damascus there. I really just enjoy the look of this one. This is the only Damascus Spyderco that I own. I'm a big fan of the titanium on the Delica, the standard Delica with the FRN scales. I've always maintained it just feels a little bit too cheap to me, but having the titanium on this guy and something about it being a lockback just makes it that much more classy. I don't know. I really like this. I went ahead and switched out the clip to the MXG deep carry clip. But yeah, gigantic fan of this one, and this one sees quite a bit of pocket time. This just really came out of left field. She picked this up. This is the Microtech Socom Elite, the one that's made in the United States. But she picked this one up back in 2018, and I was so surprised by this. I remember thinking, of everything you could pick, this is not what I would have expected. And, it became, like, the Socom became a knife that I never realized that I would just absolutely love. But she said, yeah, they were just, like, sitting there. And that was truly, up until recently, these are really, really difficult to get your hands on, right? And only in the last year or so have we seen them sort of come back and actually hang out for a little bit at retailers. For years, these were just impossible to get. The moment that they would land, they would sell, right? But this was during a time where she said, oh yeah, there was a ton of choices. There was automatic, there was not automatic, there was black, there was bronze ones, there was all. You know, so she said, I just bought the safest one. I know you like stonewashed and black. And she was right. I will occasionally put this one in my pocket, but I am so protective of it. I know why. I'm protective of everything, that my wife gives me. But sometimes, a knife screams, put me in your pocket, use me. And to me, sometimes other knives scream, protect me, keep me safe. And for some reason, I'm just hyper protective of that Socom Elite. So very cool. This one is definitely the one that gets used the most of all the gifts my wife has given me. This is the Spyderco Par 3 in Maximate, and you'll recognize this as a size comparison knife. Now, there have been times on this channel where you might have seen this knife up close and it looks substantially dirtier, substantially cleaner. It has recently had a bit of a bath and then has been used a little bit more. So you can see here that the Maximate has definitely started to patina, but after all these years, it's not nearly as bad as I ever would have expected. And it's still, while it definitely does need an edge, it is still plenty sharp. I cannot believe how well the Maximate has held up. This is one of the Par 3, when I say most used of all time, the Par 3, because I had another one before this, just not in Maximate. The Par 3 is the knife that I have used more than any other knife, I think, ever. But as far as my current collection, and definitely out of the gifts that my wife has given me, the Maximate Par 3 is definitely, I think it probably is the most used knife in my collection. Now, these scales were switched out to some RGT skinny scales. Not necessarily, originally they had the gray scales. Not necessarily because I really wanted to. Like, I had them sent, I think, by DLT, and I swapped them out and thought, you know what, I kind of like these scales. Yeah, and then I had the MXG deep carry clip put on this one as well, because you kind of have to do that with the Par 3. But yeah, this has just been wonderful, and it's still absolutely one of my favorite EDC knives of all time. So this was my first knife in Maximate, and I think at the time she just heard me talking a lot about Maximate, and so that's what we ended up going with. Now, this next one here, you'll notice that there's quite a jump. And the reason is because this was our 5-year anniversary and she wanted to do something really big. Now, I remember thinking that year, I was like, this is 5 years, it's probably going to be something pretty cool. I had no idea the length she would end up going for this. So she ended up contacting Brian Nadeau of Sharp by Design, explaining who she was. In some capacity, Levon of the Knife Nuts podcast was also involved with this. I think they collaborated and were like, we got to do this and do it without him knowing at all. And I remember, funny enough, at the time, I was actually talking with Brian Nadeau and saying, I think I want to have an Arch Nemesis built. And, this was kind of where he was transitioning from being able to do that and taking order requests and not being able to do it. And he was like, maybe we'll see. The whole time having to cover up the fact that one was actually being built, right? My wife had put in a request and they said, what does he want? And she said, he really likes, textured titanium and, kind of an all like one color look. And so it was perfect. She nailed it, right? But it was so funny thinking back to those conversations with Brian Nadeau where I was like, I was thinking like this. And then he's like, oh, yeah, okay, well, sure, just figure out what you want, trying to like delay. and also, Levon, who knew about it, also never said anything. And so when it came in, when I opened it, I was completely flabbergasted. I know a lot of you guys remember that unboxing video. Because she was there with me and I opened it up. And I don't know what I was expecting, but this was the last thing on earth. This is not a cheap knife. They're also extremely rare. These are custom knives made by Brian Nadeau in the United States. The Arch Nemesis, this is the crown jewel of my collection, if you didn't know. But these are well over $1,000. Even the most basic versions of them are well over $1,000. And as far as knives in my collection, when it comes to precision manufacturing, this is the most perfect knife in my collection. It legitimately is absolutely perfect. Double hollow ground, truly sharp on both sides, dagger blade. The machining on the titanium is just absolutely, I don't have anything else that is at this level, right? So this alongside some other things is really why I have always said I think Brian Nadeau is the best designer on earth, you know, in my experience. And, you know, his execution is just really top notch. But yeah, I was just blown away that she went out of her way to buy something that crazy. Because, like I said, it's not cheap. But what an awesome knife. And then moving on here, last year, she apparently heard me say, I can't believe I don't own a Protek TR3. Because this is like the flagship automatic knife from Protek, right? If you're wondering, like, where do I start with Protek? I know that I want an automatic knife. I know I want, you know, a side opening auto. Where do I start? The Protek TR3 is a fantastic place to start because, number one, it's a good size. I think these are about 8 inches, maybe a little bit shorter, right? It's got a good blade length. It's got a good overall profile, a pretty safe, kind of easy to look at overall profile, and it comes in a massive variety of configurations. 154 cm, which is a great steel. It's US made, and the price on these is a little bit less than a lot of the other Protek knives. So it's always a good, safe place to start. And for that reason, you know, I've maintained my opinion on the TR3 because I had reviewed it a long time ago. I had said, you know, I can't believe I don't own this knife. And so she picked up on that and bought me one. So this is my one and only Protek TR3 that I didn't own until, I guess it would have been 2021 or 2022, or 2022, I guess. So yeah, I was really happy about that. So these are the previous gifts from my wife. Technically, there was one more gift. If you guys don't know, for Christmas one year, and I'll get this one out. I just wanted to kind of keep this one separate from the group because this wasn't an anniversary gift. For Christmas, she gifted me and I can't remember which Christmas this was. Maybe, what's the date on it? 2019. For Christmas, she got me the Microtech Combat Troodon Hellhound. So that was quite the Christmas gift. Also was not expecting that one. I remember saying, like, I want that, but there's just a lot of money, right? So yeah, that was pretty cool. So those are all the gifts that my wife has given me over the years. And then let me open up the newest one, which I was really surprised about. You know, I'd given her a long time ago a list of retailers that were good to check out. And a long time ago, I had given her Recon 1. Or actually, I think Recon 1 was one of the more recent retailers that I had told her about. But she picked up the Reconnaissance Adzin, which is still available. These are made by Riot. I had heard of these, but not much. I didn't know hardly anything about them, and I had no idea how nice they were. I'm going to tell you, you can tell I've already had it in the pocket. I've already used it a little bit, actually quite a bit. This is a super nice knife, and it is very indicative of the quality that we expect from Riot. We have contour titanium scales, very simple, straightforward, classic. Sort of, I guess, I mean, there is a little bit of a clip point in there, so you could call this modified drip point, or clip point, drop point. Modified drip point, actually, is a super cool name for a blade shape, and I think we'll just refer to it as that from now on. Very clean, very good EDC size. I think one of my favorite things about it is the blade to handle ratio. I'm going to show you guys real quick. It looks like a knife that is, I'm realizing now my tape measure is, of course, not anywhere where it should be, but you'll have to just take my word for it. It's almost a 3.5 inch blade. You have about 3.35 inches of blade, or 3.4 inches of blade, and it's not quite an 8 inch knife, right? I mean, if we put it up against the Spyderco Par 3, I think you'll be surprised to see how close it actually is. We'll just use some of these other knives we've got out here, size comparisons. But it looks like a knife that's almost 8 inches, and it feels like a knife that is about 8 inches. I mean, in hand and just looking at it, it really feels closer to the Ritter Hogue. It's not until I actually measured it that I realized, oh no, it's not. But the blade to handle ratio is very, very good. The detent is very good. The action is very good. You can immediately tell it's made by Riot. This one is completely blacked out. It's what she went with. You know, different. She very rarely buys anything with color. It's either black or it's, you know, all like the other stonewashed or satin or whatever. And then I guess on rare occasions we'll get, you know, both. But yeah, very happy with this one, and I will probably be continuing to carry this for quite a bit. This just is a very good overall EDC profile. Nice fully milled clip, milled backspacer. The backspacer area is really nice. They also, I went back and looked, they have a few different versions of this. They have titanium and satin. They've got titanium and satin with bronze. They've got the black with the satin blade. So there's actually a bunch of different versions. It is a pretty expensive knife. I want to say the least expensive variants come in at like $285 or something like that. The all black is going to be a little bit more, but yeah, very happy with this one. Thank you so much to my wife for being awesome, and it's just so exciting to me to see what she's going to find. And if you're wondering, like, isn't your anniversary a ways back? Yes, but as you could imagine, I've become increasingly difficult to buy knives for. She always tells me she feels like she's got it figured out, and then she goes back and looks at my content and realizes he already has this. And she said it just takes so much time. Like, I'll research a bunch of stuff, and I'll be like, oh, that looks really cool. And then she'll go and watch something and realize that, yeah, I mean, I can't get it for him. He's already got it, right? Or he's already seen it. She likes to find things that I either don't know about or don't own. And, you know, the reconnaissance, I knew almost nothing about that knife and did not own it. And it's also right there, right up my alley for an EDC knife, right? So I was very happy with that one. But yeah, I told her these last couple of years, especially after, you know, the Sharp by Design, I said, you take your time. It doesn't have to be, I'm not going to hold you to a certain date, you know, take your time. And so there was no rush for her to be like right on for the anniversary this year. And when she finally found something, you know, it was down the road a bit, but that was perfectly fine. I'm always happy to see what she finds. So very exciting. But yeah, if you've never seen these are the knives that my wife has gifted to me over the years. So I feel very lucky, very fortunate to have her in my life, and also, of course, very fortunate that she understands my ridiculous hobby. So thank you very much. Huge shout out to my amazing wife. Looking forward to many more years to come, not just because I get a new knife every year. I gotta make that clear. That's a bonus, right? That's a bonus. Anyways, thanks so much for sharing this with me, guys. That's gonna be it today. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.